Tonight, authorities issue severe fire danger warnings across South Australia, and hundreds gather in Port Lincoln to protest Whalers Way's launch facility.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. The CFS has issued severe total fire bans for the Northwest Pastoral, West Coast and Eastern Eyre Peninsula. Residents and holidaymakers in those areas warned to avoid complacency and take necessary steps to reduce potential danger.
Bushfire season at our doorstep. With drier than average conditions, the CFS is urging those on the Eyre Peninsula to implement their bushfire survival plans.
Fire danger season basically indicates that we're at the time of the year that we start to see a heightened level of potential fire activity.
The warnings for the Northwest Pastoral, West Coast and Eyre Peninsula released alongside concerning new statistics from the CFS, saying 42% of South Australians living in bushfire-prone areas don't know the meaning of their local bushfire safer place or where to find it.
The best place to be is a well-prepared, well-defendable home because you'll get protection from the structure, and a bushfire safer place is generally made up of those well-prepared, well-defendable homes.
These locations identified as the safest strongholds for people living in the area or planning to leave early from high-risk locations. The CFS is concerned that many people aged 18 to 39 are confusing safer places with a last resort refuge.
With a last resort refuge, we don't recommend that they are the best place to be. They are, as it sounds, it is your last resort.
With a lack of firefighting appliances at these locations, survival is not guaranteed for those who seek refuge there.
Is generally something like an oval, so it's in a less populated area, and it's really designed for people that are travelling.
The CFS says it is important to be informed and organise your 5-minute bushfire plan now. Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Protesters have marched the streets of Port Lincoln, opposing Southern Launch's Whalers Way launch pad. It comes more than a month after the company's failed first attempt at the site, resulting in the rocket catching on fire.
Gathering in numbers, sending a clear message to Southern Launch. Members of the Eyre Peninsula community marching together to oppose the company's rocket launching facility at Whalers Way.
Great to see so many members of the community come out and show support and get behind us that are really trying to put up a fight against Southern Launch.
More than 200 locals showing their support, with former professional surfer and Fight for the Bite advocate Heath Josky leading the charge.
Yeah, well, I do feel like the Australian government has treated the Eyre Peninsula like guinea pigs for decades.
Bungalow nail woman Vera Richards saying we are only visitors on this earth.
We're working so hard to try to keep this place in this mint condition that it's supposed to be in, but like I said, humanity, we're our own worst enemy.
In a statement, Southern Launch says the Port Lincoln community has been supportive of the project, however understands there is a minority who oppose it. The company is working with the community to clear up any misleading information from unofficial sources, and with the Australian Space Agency regarding its next proposed launch. Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Golf News.
For the first time in more than 3 months, Broken Hill is officially COVID-free. The final 3 cases have completed their 14 days in isolation. Locals are still urged to get tested and won't need to isolate if they have no symptoms. Meanwhile, Victoria made a last-minute change to its borders, with all of regional New South Wales now considered a green zone and Broken Hill reinstated in the border bubble. Anyone who hasn't left the Broken Hill LGA in the 14 days prior can enter Victoria without a permit. A 62-year-old motorcyclist has been charged following an alleged drink driving incident in Whyalla over the weekend. Officers stopped the motorcycle driver on the Lincoln Highway just before 4:30 on Sunday morning. The Elizabeth Park man allegedly returned a result of 0.160, over 3 times the legal alcohol limit. His motorcycle was impounded for 28 days, his licence suspended, and he'll appear in court at a later date. The state's leading motoring group has called for younger drivers to be more careful on our roads and to be street smart. It comes as new statistics reveal road crashes as one of the leading causes of death for people under the age of 25.
Getting young drivers to be more safe on our roads. The RAA conducting its annual youth road safety event, Street Smart High, in schools all across the Spencer Gulf.
The whole purpose is about ensuring that people who are just about to start learning to drive, or perhaps even just started learning to drive, are aware of the role that they can play in making correct decisions.
This year's event coming off the back of new data from the state government, revealing 26 young people aged between 16 and 25 have already lost their lives on our roads in the past 12 months. A further 143 people were seriously injured in the same period.
Once people move to their P1 licences and start driving by themselves, what we do see traditionally is the number of crashes spikes dramatically.
In addition, while the 16 to 25 age bracket only represents 13% of the state's population, they account for 21% of fatalities. The RAA hoping the road safety campaign leaves an imprint on young people today.
The feedback generally is very positive. People, the messaging is strong. They take it in the context that it's intended to highlight what can happen if you make the wrong decision.
Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a memorandum of understanding signed for the future of the proposed Cape Hardy Port project. And the new Wireless Secondary College reveals its uniforms. Welcome back. A memorandum of understanding has been signed between the Eyre Peninsula Cooperative Bulk Handling Board and Walga Mining, the two organisations looking at the development opportunities adjacent to the proposed Cape Hardy Port precinct.
An agreement promising exciting opportunities for the region. Two organisations working towards a memorandum of understanding for some time.
This is something that we've been working on for 3 or 4 years, building a relationship between Walga Mining and Iron Road in the first instance, and then Farmers Cooperative.
The MOU representing the commitment of both parties to explore mutually beneficial economic development opportunities. The development of a mining and civil training facility within the Cape Hardy Port precinct in the pipeline.
It's a way of, upskilling and training both the local Indigenous as well as the wider Eyre Peninsula, just a way of capitalising any opportunities that we have here.
Also saying the facility would have a strong focus on Indigenous training and upskilling.
It's a way of us looking at opportunities for the wider Eyre Peninsula and where we can establish our business and just sort of widen our footprint.
EPCBH CEO Tim Schultz saying there's a shortage of skilled labour in the agriculture industry.
We lack skills right across the Eyre Peninsula, and Walga, going back to earlier discussions, had said, look, we would like to get involved in that element of it.
Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
There are fresh calls from Labor for air purifiers to be installed in South Australian classrooms as the state gets closer to opening back up. It's already happening interstate in Victoria, leaving experts here questioning why we aren't following suit.
As South Australia prepares to open up to life with COVID, Labor is calling on the state government to take action now, starting with installing air purifiers in classrooms. The Shadow Education Minister says with vaccines unavailable for children under 12 and low vaccination rates of 12 to 15-year-olds, they are most at risk of the virus.
The government is running out of time. I mean, if we get to a point where we are simply reacting because we have cases in the community, in the classroom, from that point on, you're just playing catch-up.
He says the Victorian government has already purchased 51,000 Samsung air purifiers from Korea, questioning why our government hasn't yet followed suit. Experts backing the calls, saying the devices would stop a lot of the transmission between children.
They have HEPA filters, which means they can pick up particles the size of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and by and large they do a very, very good job. So if they're that reasonably priced, then the question is, why aren't we putting them into classrooms?
In a statement, an Education Department spokesperson says the department is conducting a ventilation audit of 900 sites, expected to be completed in early December. Also saying the information will help inform decisions regarding air purifiers and will act on results as they come to hand.
The 2-week school holidays that were just finished recently was really the opportunity to get this stuff done and have the audits done, be rolling out air purifiers in places where they're needed. It's not acceptable and not ideal to be doing this later on.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Steel City's newest secondary college has revealed its uniforms in preparation for its opening next year. The college's school community was consulted during the design process, reflecting Whyalla and the culture of the new school.
Making a statement to the Whyalla community ahead of opening day. The Whyalla Secondary College unveiling its new uniform design at an event in Adelaide yesterday.
We really put a big focus on trying to capture the Whyalla culture and heritage, but make them new, modern, creative uniforms.
The uniforms designed and decided on a local level with consultations from parents and students, aiming to reflect the spirit of Whyalla and the community.
I'm really excited and really pleased with the actual outcome of our uniform, and I think it's just a great start for the college.
The college will also introduce sports uniforms later this month for competitions in basketball, football, soccer and netball. Key school leaders on track to move into the new building next month to prepare for the new school year.
The Whyalla Secondary College team that are currently in place move in on November the 9th, and we will definitely be ready for day one, which is 31st of January 2022.
In a statement, the Education Minister says the uniforms will be important in creating a sense of identity for the wider school community. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Golf News.
New data has laid bare the impact COVID restrictions and online shopping have had on Broken Hill businesses. The community told to try local first, a simple decision which could inject millions of dollars into the local economy.
Broken Hill coming back to life, businesses hoping for their own shot in the arm.
Broken Hill really embraced coming out of lockdown. Everyone seems to be making a really conscious effort to get out and about with the local businesses and show their support.
But months of lockdown and restrictions have taken their toll. Council highlighting data showing spending on dining and entertainment halved in June compared to last year.
It's a big time to support those businesses that stayed loyal and supported us.
In the 12 months before lockdown, locals spent more than $100 million online, $7 million in Mildura and $4 million in Adelaide.
A lot of people don't try here first. We have a lot of things to offer. The local businesses, especially at the moment since coming out of lockdown, have really broadened their ranges.
Our mayor says anything the big chains sell across the border you can likely find from a local business.
There is always going to be a price difference, but there's a price to actually travel to Mildura and travel to Adelaide to shop there. It's actually more expensive.
With Christmas and Black Friday specials only sweetening the deal.
We're just feeling the waters, waiting to see how things go over the next few weeks. But look, if all goes well as it is, we hope to do something for this Black Friday.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. 2 senior Broken Hill firefighters hang up their helmets. And a Port Pirie school hosts an ag shearing course. Hello again. 2 Broken Hill firefighters have switched off their pages and hung up their helmets, clocking off for the final time. Jeffrey Highwood and Peter Hines have spent a combined 70 years serving the community and are calling for the next generation to follow in their footsteps.
Fires, floods and crashes. While most run away from danger, they've been facing it head on.
Local people, you're helping local people. Sometimes you get too involved in it and sometimes you just don't want to be in there, but you're it, so you have to go and do it.
Peter Hines joined as a retained or on-call firefighter in 1987. Jeffrey Highwood signed up a year earlier in 1986, spending 22 years full-time. Farewelled yesterday with a final turnout and Guard of Honour.
Oh, it's just the comradeship with all the blokes and the training and the new skills you got, and it was just sort of become a bit part of your life.
They're a really good bunch of people here and out 239 out south. It's a very good, enjoyable time.
Fire and Rescue is looking for on-call fireys to join its ranks in Broken Hill. Critical roles keeping our community safe.
as long as they're prepared to make a commitment and show a bit of dedication. The skills they'll learn is unbelievable.
For now, though, travel and fishing is on the cards for their retirements, handing over the reins to the next generation.
We're here to help the public, so it just becomes party in the end.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Agriculture students at Port Pirie St Mark's College have been trying their hand at shearing this week as part of the school's annual course. Ag manager Joel Head says he's pleased to see the students get involved.
Shearers at the ready.
So far we've been learning just the techniques on how to shear with foot placement and also like setting up the handpiece and properly oiling and grinding as well.
These St Mark's College Ag students getting stuck into shearing around 200 sheep this week. The 5-day course funded by the Industry Training Hub this year as part of a federal government initiative. Ag manager Joel Head says it's a great opportunity for the students to learn the best practices of today.
It's not sort of what Dad or Grandpa did, it's all the current techniques which are beneficial for both the shearer and the animals, and also the wool handling as well. There's a bit large wool handling component as well.
Student Adam Black has always been around sheep and shearing, born and raised on a farm at Kaltawi, but says over the past few days he has already been able to further develop his skills.
Further developed all round with better hand coordination and foot placement, making it a lot easier to shear through.
Mr. Head says he's proud to see the students get into it.
Monday morning they're all a bit apprehensive, and then this morning they did going back over some of the things they've learned over the last 2 days, and they were sort of straight into it without too much direction. So that's the great thing, just to see their development over 3 days already.
With huge demand and shortage of workers in the industry, it's hoped the course will better prepare students for shearing work in the future. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Lachlan Itter will bring us this week's Fuel Watch, and we'll have all the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. The RAA is warning Adelaide fuel prices could soon reach their highest ever recorded, driven up by soaring oil prices. With a look at how things are shaping up in our own backyard, here's Lachlan Itter with Fuel Watch.
The average price of unleaded in Adelaide has actually dropped this week, but there are some outlets selling for $1.86 a litre. That's 40 cents more than the average across the city. Things are looking pretty bleak in our region again this time around. Prices in every corner going up, most by around 4 cents a litre. Kadina and Port Pirie are the only places where you'll pay less than $1.60, and even then it's very close. Port Lincoln just above that threshold, Whyalla up to $1.61 a litre, $1.62 in Port Augusta. Broken Hill all the way up to $1.67 a litre, some servos already selling above $1.70. Over to diesel, and it's the same story. Price increases right across the board, and again by around 4 cents a litre. Kadina easily the pick of the bunch at $1.57 because everywhere else has hit that $1.60 mark on the diesel front as well. Port Pirie's bang on $1.60 a litre. Port Augusta and Port Lincoln are $1.61. Whyalla's edging closer to $1.63, and no surprises, Broken Hill is the most expensive at $1.65 a litre. Adelaide's price and increase is on par with what we've seen in our region. Bringing things home with Autogas, where things are looking relatively calm. Port Augusta is the main exception, up from $1.04 a litre to $1.16, and that tops every other part of our region. Kadina seeing another jump to $1.14, so that's still at the pricier end of things. No change in Port Pirie and Broken Hill, though they are still above that dollar mark. Whyalla and Port Lincoln are going to be your best bet, even cheaper than the city, both sitting on $1 a litre. Now remember that these prices are the regional averages and do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do spot unleaded, diesel or Autogas cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Ruby, and happy Wednesday to you all. Well, there were showers across most parts today, but it really is shaping up to be a beautiful spring week. From 3 p.m. today, Port Augusta was 34, Port Lincoln was 18, and Port Pirie was partly cloudy and 30 degrees. Looking further out across the region now, 31 was the top for Whyalla. It was mostly sunny in Broken Hill and 26. Adelaide and Clare were both 24. Woodna was 32. It was 26 for Kadina and Cleve, and Cooper Pedy was a whopping 36 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, band of clouds are covering the northwest and southern parts with a cold front and a trough bringing showers and strong winds. Clearer skies elsewhere with a high pressure ridge and hot, dry air mass. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Easterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 1 to 2 metres, and south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. Port Lincoln partly cloudy and 22 tomorrow. Cleve mostly sunny to reach 25 degrees. Sunny in Woodna with a high of 27. Whyalla will be sunny and 24. Also sunny in Port Augusta with a top of 29. Kadina mostly sunny and set to reach a high of 23 degrees. Port Pirie will be sunny and 27, Clare mostly sunny and 24, and Broken Hill will be cloudy with a high of 32 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, it will be sunny in Cooper Pedy and Broken Hill on Friday, mostly sunny in Port Augusta with 26, Whyalla and Kadina both partly cloudy and 22. A look at the weekend forecast now, sunny again in Cooper Pedy and Broken Hill on Saturday, partly cloudy conditions expected across the rest of the region. To Sunday, mostly sunny in Port Pirie 22, sunny in Port Augusta, Port Lincoln 18. So not a bad looking weekend there, Ruby, and that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Lovely, thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.